Hi, and welcome to this training lab on how to block URLs using a FortiGate firewall. And the reason you want to block URLs is for protection against malicious website. Secondly, you may have a company policy where people cannot go and access certain websites during work hours like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. So as you can see, I've logged into my Windows 10 machine and I have full access to Facebook. If I click the refresh page here on my browser, you can see Facebook is ready to go. Now if I minimize that, I'm going to bounce all the way back into my firewall. And if I come down to security profiles and I click web filter, let's go and create a new web filter rule. I'm going to call this one facebook.com to block Facebook. I'm going to turn that static URL on. I'm going to create a new static URL filter. I'm going to go ahead and use a wildcard. A wildcard would pick up any extension related to the facebook.com website. I'm going to say block and click OK. And you can see it's now in the list, and we can go ahead and make sure that it says blocked, and I can go and click OK. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to associate that web filter with a firewall policy. If we don't do that, it's not going to work. So we bounce back up to policies and objects, we click firewall policy, and we click on our internet policy to open up our internet policy. I'm going to scroll all the way down. I'm going to select web filter, and from the drop down I'm going to select my web filter that we just created called facebook.com. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and that's going to apply that web filter. I'm going to bounce back to my Windows 10 PC. I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to go ahead and open up Facebook again. I'm just going to type in Facebook, press enter, and then I'm going to go ahead and say sign up. And if you notice, I'm now being blocked, and it says try disabling the Fortinet, and Fortinet is blocking this access to this website for us, so we can't actually use it. And you can add multiple rules in there. You could add multiple URLs. It's all up to you. If you wanted to allow access to stuff, you can go ahead and do that as well. So we can go back into our security profiles. We can go back to our web filter. We can click on our web filter and we can click edit. And once we click edit on our web filter, we can go ahead and we can kind of decide what we want to do. Do we want to edit that policy, and we can allow access to it, or we could disable it, or we could do an exemption at the end of the day. Now let's say you no longer needed this web rule. So if I came down here and I said delete, you'll notice from the drop down, editors, I can edit stuff, I can clone stuff, I can clone this policy, but I can't delete it. The reason you can't delete the policy is because it's associated here in the firewall policy, if that makes sense. And if I click on here to open up the internet firewall policy, I've got to disable it over here. If I turn that off and click OK, and then I go back into my security profiles, I go back to web filter, I can right mouse click Facebook. Now I can delete that, and I can go ahead and click OK. So again, it's all up to you. You can edit the policy, you can modify the policy, you can delete it or create more policies. It's all up to you. So hopefully you can use this information. You can go away and you can practice and try different URLs out and have some fun applying a web filter policy to your FortiGate firewall. So I'd like to thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lab.